All right. Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. Welcome. So, it's a Friday night. I know people are most likely out partying, having the time of their life to get ready for the weekend. Well, actually the weekend already started today, but you know what I mean. I just wanted to just do a little tiny short live stream here for you all to kind of get you guys prepared before the next week starts. I know it's a little bit early, but no one said anything about being early, right? It's always nice to be early with everything and being prepared, right? So, hey Joel, welcome Dion. Oh, there's a lot of people coming in. Nice. Joel, he said, thank you for changing my mindset on risk. I feel like I moved a level in one aspect of trading. That's exactly how it should be, guys. So when you're trading, okay, so Joel is one of my mentorship students, monthly mentorship students, and a CFO Swing and Watch member. It's a progress, right? And he's been doing really well. Sometimes he may not see that. A lot of people tend to put down themselves a lot due to setbacks, but the stock market makes you do that, right? Because stock trading is the only job in the world where you come in every morning expecting to lose money, right? What other job has that type of an expectation, right? In any other job, you come in looking to make money in exchange for your time. But in the stock market, in exchange for your time, you're expecting to lose money every single time that you're risking your own hard-earned savings or your money, right? So it's a progress, right? You're not going to get it overnight. You will not, right? Some people will take 10 years, a decade. Some people will take a decade in order to get good at this. Trust me, I've met people like that, okay? And they're now like 20 to 25 years in the game now, but they took 10 years to become profitable and to become one of the best investors and traders of their generation. So, try not to be so hard on yourself, right? Continue to move forward. That's the number one important thing. And continue to learn about who you truly are, right? And like I said before, the stock market is a great vehicle to really quickly help you learn who you are as a character and with your personality. And I truly believe in that, right? And if that's an actual fact, if that is true, then it makes sense that people take long to figure out how to be a good trader in this stock market game. Does that make sense? Right? So really, don't be too hard on yourself. Enjoy the process, enjoy the trading journey, and try to learn as much as possible about yourself. Be very introspective. Okay? So hopefully that made a lot of sense to you all. Okay, so with that was a great introduction there. Let's go ahead and start and look at SPY. So yes, it did. Thumbs up. Oh, thank God. So it sounds logical, right? It sounds very logical what I just said, but people tend to completely overlook it, or they don't even think about it at all. So I just really want to make sure that everyone remembers that fact, right? Remember that trading is hard and it takes time, and there's no other job in the world where you come in expecting to lose money. Okay. All right. So for SPY here, SPY kind of did exactly what I wanted it to do from last night's live stream, and actually for this entire week, SPY has been very on point every single time after I do my live stream here. Actually ever since the start of the week, right? After I sent out my CFO Swing and Watch watch list to my members, I first said that I'm looking for 385 as the first profit target, or the profit target for this week if we decide to move lower and if you reject below 385. And then I said that after having a nice bullish day, we will have a nice range into the 385 to 390, and that's exactly what we got throughout the rest of this week, including today. And last night I said that I want to see a retest of 385 or at least around there, right? So this 385 level is acting as a huge level of support, and I love the fact that we actually held this level. So we're moving away right? We're moving away from this ascending support trend line as much as possible. And for the fact that we've actually held in between this range, it just shows a lot of you know, a lot of interest in the bulls, right? To be able to stay within this supply area, right? Between this 385 to 390 zone. So hopefully I can see some type of a run up next week above 390 and potentially break above this descending level of resistance, because that's kind of the area that I wanted us to break out of. We retested it today, right? We tried to attempt to break above this descending level of resistance, but obviously we didn't have enough volume and buying power from the bulls to push through and eventually hit the daily 50 SMA. So that's a great segue here. Next week, I really want to see very, very good run up all the way into the daily 50 SMA. So that's going to be around 394. Okay, so 394 is going to be my next profit target. And the reason why I say 394 is that that's kind of the spot where we start to fill in the gap here, this gap down that we made about 3 weeks ago. So this gap obviously started from here, right, where the low today was 399.71, which we can round up to 400, right, the 400 whole number level. That's kind of the level that I want to see ultimately next week, or even next week, if we don't decide to break out and we consolidate. And then the kind of the bottom of this gap down here was 394.08, which we can also round down to 394 whole number, right? So we have a nice range between 394 and 400, right? It's a nice big 6-point range. So it's a wider range than the range that I was looking at between 385 and 390. So hopefully we're able to break through that 394 area and completely move forward and stay above the daily 50 SMA. So here's the one thing though, right? So unlike the 10 SMA, right, where we retest. So here's a great example here. So before I move on to what I expect off of a retest of the daily 50 SMA, let's talk about the retest of the 10 SMA. Now I've actually gone over this multiple times, right? So the daily 10 SMA here, right? Whenever we retest, right? If you take a look at these groups of candlesticks here, right? This is the first time that we retest, right? And then we reject right away. Okay, that's usually what happens. And then the next few candlesticks, if you're wanting to move forward and eventually, obviously, continue to the upside, we will close above the 10 SMA multiple times. And then eventually, after we've closed above the 10 SMA multiple times, we stay above the 10 SMA, come back down, and then retest the 10 SMA again and bounce above it and then close above it again. And eventually we start using, right? We're going to start using the 10 SMA as a level of support instead of as a level of resistance, right? So that's exactly what we want to be seeing, right? We don't want to be seeing a sudden reversal and another move lower and rejection below the 10 SMA. If you want to see a bullish reversal, we have to stay and stick above the 10 SMA for multiple times. So that's what's been happening so far. Now, with that knowledge of the candlestick staying above the 10 SMA, let's talk about the retest of the 50 SMA. So the 50 SMA has a lot more weight on the price, right? It's a 50-day moving average. And it's calculating the past 50 closed prices and making it to an average, right? That's kind of the general process of how these SMAs are formed. Obviously, there's a specific theory behind those, and after that theory is like the calculations, right? The formula in order to make these SMAs. So you guys can go deeper. You guys can research that if you want, but I don't like to do math. The only math I like to do is the risk to reward ratios. So I like to keep it simple, but if you want to go into more in depth on how that works, go ahead, right? EMAs and SMAs. But with 50 SMA here, it has a very like I said, it's a very overbearing resistance for as an SMA, especially on the daily time frame. And like I said, next week I would expect the 50 SMA to coincide with that 394 level. Okay, and as it comes to that 394 level, here's where we see that retest of the daily 50 SMA. Now, how does the retest on the 50 SMA differ from the retest on the 10 SMA, right? The shorter SMAs, the shorter term SMAs. So through my experience with SMAs, since I started using the SMAs ever since I first started trading, which was 5+ years ago, I've experienced the 50 SMA as a type of SMA where the price gets really magnetized toward it, right? So it automatically pumps and tries to shoot to retest the daily 50 SMA, especially when it's been down below the 50 SMA for a long time. And we've been down for, I would say, for the most part, most of this year, right? Most of this new year of 2022, we've been below the 50 SMA. Excuse me. Now, with SPY here, SPY tends to act in a very, very logical way. All right, because there's a lot of liquidity and a lot of people eyeing the same name. So humans will try to act very logically in the stock market, right? Where there's a lot of uncertainty happening, right? So we always love to have certainty, which is the reason why SPY tends to have some very, very clear price levels, like using whole number levels, which is very logical because people don't like to do math. So with SPY here, I would say when we retest the daily 50 SMA, we tend to overshoot it first. So after retesting it, we tend to kind of move upwards, and eventually hit a major level of resistance, and then come back down and reject and go below the daily 50 SMA. Now, the most ideal situation that I want to see is that next week or sometimes next week, anytime between next week and next week, I want us to able to stay above the 50 SMA, come back down, okay, and stay below a little bit, and flag underneath the daily 50 SMA, and eventually break above 400, and then get above that, so that we can retest 405, which is a very actually not intermittent, but a very significant level of resistance compared to 400 and 416, right? So hopefully, I think we can see some type of a flag forming either under or in between the 50 SMA. And what I mean by that is that the price can sometimes reject off the 50 SMA, right, after retesting it, and then it starts flagging between the 50 SMA, right? So that's kind of the ideal situation that I want to see. But like I said, SPY tends to, once it actually retests the 50 SMA, it will overshoot on that same day, right? And then either the next day or near the end of the day, the price will come back down and close like really, really close above the 50 SMA or underneath the 50 SMA. Or on the other hand, the next day it will either gap down and go back down as a rejection underneath the 50 SMA after the first retest. Okay, so guys, if I'm saying something that's logical and it makes sense to you guys, please leave a thumbs up on this live stream video. Like I said, I always want to have at least 10 likes. That's kind of the goal here. So it'll be great if you guys can leave a thumbs up on this video if you guys are liking what I'm saying and it makes sense. Okay, so guys, if you guys don't really understand what I'm talking about, make sure that you guys always ask questions, because I will be happy, more than happy, to clarify things that I've personally said about SPY, because it's my technical analysis. Okay, so is everyone with me so far? Okay, I think everyone's with us so far. So with SPY, you're okay. Thank you, Dino. So with SPY here, I would say next week, my kind of prediction for SPY will be at least 394 to 396 at the very least. Like that's the least that I want to see. Okay, but if we have more of a squeeze next week somehow, I would say 400 is definitely possible, which would mean that we will have filled the gap of this gap down that we saw when we start that big reversal, right? So yeah, there's always a big lag. Yeah, it depends on, I believe, my Wi-Fi and the your guys' Wi-Fi as well. So yeah, there's always a big lag. Yeah. So hopefully, disregarding the big lag, hopefully everyone is able to understand what I'm saying here. Okay. Oh wow, thank you guys for the likes. It really jumped up to 5 likes here. So 6 likes. It just changed. Awesome. So that's it for SPY. That's kind of my prediction for SPY. I did get a hedge. I got an out the money SPY put today to kind of hedge my over leveraged long positions. So the reason why I did that was, well, we have a rejection again, and this is the second time that we're respecting this trend line. And I actually drew this trend line in the middle of the day today, and we really just respected my trend line here, right? I believe my trend line was like this. Yeah, it was like this, and then SPY, as it decided to pump up, it actually went a little above it, right? But obviously the day is over, so I'm going to readjust my trend line to be like this, right? So I was very, very close into hitting this this price and this trend line. So this trend line is now officially formed. I want another retest of this descending level of resistance as soon as possible next week. I do not want us to revisit this ascending support trend line, but if we do, then it might just be for the better, because we can start consolidating and having tighter price ranges here for next week, and eventually we'll break out. Okay, this might just be my famous last words where we don't break out to the upside, right? And then we just completely reverse to the downside. But hey, I'm trying to stay bullish for the short term here. Like I said, I want to see a nice, good, actual continuation of a rally, right? A bear market rally. So we've had really failed. We failed a lot of them so far. So I want to see at least a retest, like I said, in the long run. Well, not long run, but at least in the next few weeks, a retest of this 416 resistance level. Because, like I said multiple times, we have a big range between 363 and 416. Okay, 363, to remind you guys again, is the line in the sand. If we break below that, then we head down to 350. And the 416 is a major level of resistance. So if we retest it again, immediate rejection is going to come. Okay. All right. So that's kind of it for my analysis on SPY. Does anyone have any questions? I'll wait at least a minute or two, since there is a big lag between my stream and your guys' comments. Water is always good. Okay, so I think everyone is on track here to understand what I've said so far, so that's great. So, does anyone have any chart requests? Okay, so I think after that, with SPY here, I do want to go over some names that I think it's worth watching. There's a lot of beaten down tech names. These names, okay, here's a little tiny hint. These names may or may not be in this next week's CFO Swing Watch, so pay attention if you guys are not members. Okay, if you guys aren't members, are not members, make sure you guys pay attention right now in the next few minutes. Okay, so the first one that I'm gonna be looking at for a very beaten down tech name, okay, is, drum roll please. so AI. Okay, so AI has been absolutely devastating. Okay, this is a bottom right chart, and it's completely doo-doo, right? Completely shitty chart here. You know, IPOs, right? The IPO ranges here were in the triple digits, but now it's literally become a 2-digit stock, right? So for this one, I would want to see some type of at least a nice momentum break to the upside, a reversal, since it's been down for, well, let's see, since last year, right? It's been down since last year. So the entire time for the past 2 years, almost 2 years, it's just been a straight downtrend. So for AI here, it's finally making a nice accumulation base here. We're not going down further. We're not going up any further as well. So we're starting to really accumulate here. So if we're able to break above, I would say around 22, then we can see a really, really nice resurgence back to the upside and possibly have a mean reversion retest on the weekly 50 SMA. So that's somewhere around $30. Okay, I would expect if we move up, we would see the convergence of the 50 SMA on the weekly time frame on this $30 level. Okay, so AI, keep your eye on that one. All right, so that's the first one that I'll be sharing with you guys for this week, for next week. And then the next one is even better than AI here. Sentinel-1 S. So S here has been showing a really, really good base here. Actually, it looks even better than AI, the previous one here. And the reason why I say that is that we have some very clear big bounces, right? If you take a look at AI, right, the bounces here are very, very small. And every single time we bounce, we seem to be seeing some big selling that comes out afterwards, right? So this name is not that ready yet. So I would say S is a better candidate for next week for a nice run up for next week, especially if tech continues to run up and tech leads the way for the run up. But you know, anything can happen here. And it seems like on the daily time frame, S is showing a nice ascending triangle as well, which is a bullish chart pattern. But we have a potential for a bear flag. Okay. I mean, this is a pretty big bear flag, I would say. And usually when we start to consolidate for a long time, it's kind of makes you think that the bear flag is not there anymore, right? It's not validated anymore, because if I want to see continuation to the downside and a bear flag was to happen, the bear flag should be forming, I would say, between a time range of, I would say 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, but this has been way more than 2 to 3 weeks, right? It's been over a month. Okay, actually, it's been over 2 months on this consolidation. Well, nearly 2 months. So at this point, I would think that the consolidation is kind of showing that showing proof that this name is ready to move to the upside, and it's in a consolidation phase. And one final thing on S is that we're above the 50 SMA, and we closed above the 50 SMA. So this is very, very good. Do you guys see how after we retested the 50 SMA for the first time, we kind of moved up? We had a nice impulsive move up above the 50 SMA, and it came crashing back down at the end of the day, and then we closed below the 50 SMA. But the last thing that I like about this name is that we've actually held onto the 10 SMA again as support, and then we absolutely blasted above the daily 50 SMA. So this is good. And today was even better because we're starting to stay above the 50 SMA and using the 10 SMA continuously as a level of support. So short term, we're very bullish. Long term, we're about to be very bullish. We'll have to see next week for more data. Okay, and the reason why I say that is that, well, we can come all the way back down and come crashing back down, reversing and retesting the 50 SMA and possibly going below the 50 SMA again. So that's a definite possibility, and that's kind of my risk assessment on S, especially if I do decide to go long next week. Right? Joel, you said DUOL. I'm sorry. I did see that comment pop up, but I wanted to talk about S and AI. So hopefully you're still here. So Duo, it's time that it decides to consolidate. So next week, I want to see a lot of consolidation coming in. We do have this ascending level of resistance. Okay. So I'm kind of worried about this actually, because next week we'll most definitely see a nice rejection tomorrow. Next week, it could be Monday, right? So as a name that's been very relatively strong against the market, it might lose its strength next week, especially if the market decides to move inversely to Duo. That can also happen. I've seen that happen many times where the relative strength stock or RSS has lost its strength as the market starts to move up higher, right? Because remember, what is RSS, right? RSS are names that are moving to the upside when the overall equity markets are going to the downside, right? That's what gives them relative strength. So Duo can most likely see a nice rejection to the downside on this ascending resistance trend line, and it would also make sense because just like the 50 SMA, okay, the daily 200 SMA reacts and acts the same way. Whenever the price decides to move up, okay, and retest the 200 SMA, it immediately retests it and continues to go up and has a nice impulsive big pop up to the upside. Does that make sense? Right? So as that happens, okay, it's going to retest another major level of resistance, which was 113 for Duolingo here. And that was my actual profit target. One of my final profit targets for this week, one of the last ones, I believe, and we reached it, right? So that's, obviously Duolingo was a great swing play. I wish I held on until today, but obviously I didn't, but that's fine. I still had a great run up since last week, right? So with DUOL, I would say it's still a good name to watch. Joe, you said it was a fun ride. Thank you, DUOL. Yes, it's amazing. These are high quality setups, but I still I wouldn't quit on it yet, okay? Because I still need to see some type of a consolidation next week. And most likely, Joel, DUOL, I would love if we are able to consolidate. So next week, I wouldn't mind on this weekly time frame if we have a nice red candlestick. And the thing is, if we do make a nice red weekly candlestick, I want us to come back down to either 106.50 or 106 and hold it, or at least hold 102. Okay, if you do come back down. Does that make sense? Right? And the reason for that is that on the weekly time frame, the 10 and 21 are starting to catch up, right? And if we do consolidate all of next week, then the 10 SMA will have an even better opportunity to start catching up to the weekly candlestick. Does that make sense? Right? And so next week, especially if we have a nice red candlestick. Okay, so if you have a nice red candlestick, so for example, let's visualize this. Okay, if we reject off this trend line, okay, you make a nice red candlestick, right, like this. Okay, whatever. Oops. Okay, so let's take that out so you can see, right? So if you have a nice red candlestick, right, like this, just like this. Okay, all right. The next week, I want us to follow through, and then move to the upside. Okay. So excuse my drawing. I don't know why that turned green, but you get the picture. So that's what I expect on Duolingo next week. All right. That's kind of the general, kind of my thesis for Duolingo. If you want to swing to the downside, especially for Duo, I would say the risk is very tight there. I might even do that as well. If the markets are weak enough, relatively weak in the sense that it starts to consolidate, then I would say it's a good possibility to try to have a swing to the downside. All right, so but we'll see. All right, at least next week. So in summary, next week, red week is what I want. Ideally, a rejection below this ascending resistance trend line, not support, and also below this daily 200 SMA. Okay, we just had our first retest in months. Okay, and the 200 SMA just started forming as well, since Duolingo is still a pretty early IPO. Okay, so Duolingo major levels to watch out for next week is 106.50 and $202. Not 200, $102. Jeez. So 106.50 or even just 106 is a whole number, and then 102. Does that make sense, Joel? So these two ranges, I want us to hold that if we retrace back down next week, and we stay red as a weekly candlestick, so that next week we can see a nice big break to the upside and possibly even break above 113, which is the deal breaker here for a nice big reversal to the upside. Okay. Joel, I'll give you more of analysis next week on next week's CFO Swing and Watch. I will put this one again in the CFO Swing and Watch for this week, so be on watch for that on Sunday. Okay. Perfect. All right. So oh wow, 6 likes. Oh no, wait. I've already seen that. Can we get to the 10 likes? Can we get to that minimum requirement for every single live stream that I do? 10 likes, guys? Is that possible? Maybe not. It's a Friday night. I understand. People don't want to be stressing about the market anymore, right? The week is over and the weekend is here. So, I'm not gonna be butthurt or anything that we didn't come to that $10 threshold, $10 like threshold. But guys, like I said, if you are liking what you're hearing and if you're liking this live stream, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up on this live stream. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, okay? And it really pushes out these live streams to the strangers that are out there who don't know what Charts Focus 1 is about, okay? So thank you guys so much already for the likes. I mean, that's amazing. It's a Friday night. Not a lot of people is here on the live stream and you guys still got it to 6 likes. Thank you very much. Okay, so last one that I want to see and look over for tonight is Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase. Hey Paul, what's up? I joined late. I watched the replay. Yes, and once you watch the replay and once you finish watching the replay, make sure you like the video. I don't want you to like it now since you just joined, but like it when you get some sort of value, okay? I would love honesty, right? That's what we're all about in Charts Focus 1, right? We want to be true to ourselves, right? So that we learn who we are as a trader and what we are as a trader as well, right? Which is the reason why I never wanted Charts Focus 1 to ever be a signaling service as well. Okay, I explained why last night, right? So if you want to take a look at that live stream, then go ahead. All right, I explained why Charts Focus 1 will never be a signaling service. I'm pretty sure I've really pushed away everyone that joined last night. I've pushed away a majority of traders or people who are looking to get signals from me. But hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna stay honest to myself, and I'm gonna stay true to myself, and I'm gonna make sure that the people around me are able to trade by themselves so that they can have a great community of people who know how to trade. Okay, that should make sense, right? So hopefully everyone understood what I said last night. But yeah, guys, take a look at the live stream last night. I was pretty on point again on SPY. I've been really on point on spot. Actually really on spot with SPY this entire week. So take a look at my live streams for this entire week. Okay. Coin here. Okay, the reason why I want to look at coin is that coin, this looks like a proper bear flag. Okay, on the weekly time frame, right? And Joe, you said honesty is the best policy. Yeah, I'm just being honest, right? I really don't want to provide signals, right? And I stated my entire reasons why in the live stream, and I don't care if I lost the interest of many people. I mean, that's not what I'm here for, right? And some people might be saying, "Huh, you're crazy, Andrew," right? You could just be making so much money off of just signaling people, right? But that's not what I want. All right, I want this to be the long run, right? I'm in this already in the long game. It's been 5+ years. I want other people to experience that as well. Does that make sense, right? But in the proper way, right? Not through signaling, because like I said, let me just say this before I do coin, right? People, right? Just think about this. People who are receiving trading signals right now, right? They're really short-term minded. Why? And if you guys are in a Discord that's just providing signals, sure, you make money, right? You make money, and you know, in the short term you'll do great, right? But usually it doesn't turn out too great. You lose a lot here and you make a lot here, but it usually turns out to be the same with everyone, where they're kind of around the middle, right? Where they're sort of making money and not making money. And the reason for that, first of all, is that signaling can be very, very varying, right, for everyone, because everyone has different account types, right? And everyone has different risk tolerances. Every trader is unique. No one is ever the same, okay? And the reason why I say that, and if you don't believe me, is that, well, humans are all unique. All you need to do is think about that, right? So humans and traders are not separate creatures, right? Humans and traders are the same synonymous creature, humans, right? So that's how I know. So everyone is unique, which is why, right, trading signals will never be good for you in the short term and long term, especially the long term. And that's the reason why I'm here. I want to change this trading community landscape where people just, you know, take trading signals, right? And people usually get nowhere, because in the long run, they're going to expect to just continuously live off of people's signals, and those signals can be very, very bad sometimes, right? With their account size and their own risk tolerance that they can never figure out, because they never learned how to do anything by themselves, and they never learned who they are as a trader and what they are as a trader, right? So in the long run, it'll be a lot more beneficial if you're able to learn trading, understand the process and what you need to go through, and what you need to go through and grow through, literally go and grow through, and that's probably what the stock market is here for as well. That's the major purpose and objective for the stock market. Well, from the stock market for the people, right? So yeah, that's kind of the summary of what I said last night, but I wanted to tell you guys again. Like I said, I don't care if I push people away. That's not my intention, but if that happens, that's fine. I don't care. I really don't care. Okay, I could care less if people don't like me because I don't provide signals. Okay, you don't always have to join me. There's other Discords out there and other educational places. So, but like I said, I'm always here for the long term. So hopefully all my members are able to know that as well, and they understand that as well. Because if they're not, then, well, it is what it is. And hopefully my message goes through to them as well. Paul Anderson, he said, I'm 6th God in the Discord. Hey, yeah, I remember you. I mean, I know you. You're always in the Discord as well. So yeah, so with that in mind, let's do the last chart here before I end this live. So Coinbase here, right? Daily time frame. Okay. You know, this looks like a pretty bad bear flag. I mean, we've been consolidating for 2 months, yes, but we've been making lower highs, right? I would want to see higher lows, but I don't even see that yet, right? On a longer time frame here, right? If you go on the weekly time frame, I don't see any type of higher lows, right? Instead, we've been sticking to the support levels, right? So, you know, I think it's something that I would like to see if Coin is trying to stage a comeback, but so far it doesn't look like it. We did get a big burst in volume this week. At the very least, we're above the average volume. So if you guys take a look at the top left, right, it says 55 million today. Well, this week, excuse me, and then the average volume on the weekly time frame is 49.129 million, right? So at least we're above the average weekly volume, but I want to see more, right? So next week, if we're able to hold above 60.50 and eventually above 61, then we should be able to blast above and reach at least $80, okay, in the long run. Okay, so Coin, a very, very beaten down name. So hopefully we can see some big purchases next week and see a retest of 80, which will then provide us hopefully a nice double top where we come back down. Right? Okay. Excuse me. All right. So that's it for tonight, guys. I don't have much for you guys left other than the CFS Room Watch newsletter that will be sent out on Sunday. And guys, if you guys aren't in the Discord and the newsletter yet, make sure you check out the link in the description box below. It's the second link. All right. So make sure you guys check it out. And if you guys want to join, use the code 5OFF for 5% off forever. Okay. So good luck trading next week. If you guys aren't joining us, make sure you guys are managing your risks and make sure to work hard and trade smart, right? I'll see you guys all next week. Most likely I will try to do a Monday live stream. If not, we just go back to the regular Tuesday to Friday live streams. All right, and at the same times, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you so much for joining this live stream every single weekday. Okay, I really thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for joining in your nightly routines to just listen to what I have to say. So that's always a pleasure and always, it always humbles me that people are willing to do that. So thank you very much, guys. I love you all. Have a safe night. Have a great rest of your night and have a good night's sleep as well. Right? I'll see you all on the next one.